content, storylines galore. Immediate reaction to the expectation of Joey Aguilar signing with the University of Tennessee.
I hope the Vols got a second-round pick and cash considerations, too, because I don't think on paper that's a one-to-one fair swap. But I think this is just the quintessential 2025 college football story. Like, these things didn't happen when I was growing up watching the sport, Eric, and I didn't follow it as closely as I do now in the offseason. But, I mean, I knew what was going on. This is just where the sport is at. You don't have to like it. There are clearly plenty of people that do. Eric and I are making a lot of content about it, and people are eating it up because it's interesting. Like, you cannot make this sort of stuff up. Brandon Marcello gets credit for the best tweet of this entire saga. That the most 2025 college football thing imaginable is that Aguilar goes to Tennessee, Nico's at UCLA, they make a bowl game, Tennessee plays UCLA in the bowl game, and then they both sit out to get ready for the NFL draft.
It's
that's
wild,
where it's at.
Man. It's crazy. There's ample storylines. Tennessee. I mean, you would thought, and that's kind of where I'm going to get down to it. Like there were only two options in the portal at the end of the day that made sense for Tennessee. I mean, you and I were talking, about last week or something. You were going down the list of guys who were in the portal, and I mean, none of those guys were viable options for Tennessee. And sure, I thought it was always a pipe dream that Tennessee was going to get a sitting Power 4 quarterback. Remember, no SEC to SEC in this window, so really one of the other, three conferences at the power level, a sitting quarterback to uproot his life, uproot his situation, come to Knoxville, try to learn the playbook, win over the locker room, win the job, all that and more. I mean, sure, there were agents, talking to collectives. I mean, that goes on across the country, but that would have been a tough pull. So at the end of the day, for me, it was Steve Angeli back up at Notre Dame, okay? Or once Nico became official, if Joey Aguilar jumped in, then I think he would have been an option for Tennessee. Lo and behold, that happened on Monday. They talked all day long. And then, of course, it was VolQuest, on 3, Chris Lowe, ESPN, Pete Thamel, everybody reacting and reporting on a Monday night that the expectation is Joey Aguilar will sign and play for Tennessee. So I think it was really that was one of the only options there. So, like, I'm going back to your joke, and it is funny, but it's like, what else could Tennessee have done, right? Because I think, Tennessee fans clamoring for Luke Ogmeyer or, Avery John or whoever the case is. I mean, it was going to be a difficult pull. So, given the circumstances, given that it's April the 22nd, I'm not saying Joey Aguilar is going to go out there and win a Heisman, but you at least feel better about where you are than where you started the day, right?
I don't know that he'd be a guarantee to start. I'd certainly see him as the favorite if this opens up a legitimate quarterback battle fall camp. Because the interesting thing about it is spring football is pretty close to over, right? Like it's
over in Knoxville.
Yeah, exactly. The Vols are done, and so a bunch of other places as well are kind of winding down and get ready to transition to the summer months. So the coaching staff is about to go all in on the recruiting front because you're going to make up the bulk of your 2026 class in the next 3 months' time, May, June, and July. And so that's where your attention is, not who's our quarterback going to be and come fall camp. I mean, that's going to be among the most high-profile, perhaps competitive quarterback battles in the entire country because you don't know. You can suppose, you could assume it'll be Aguilar because he's more experienced than the other guys, but experience against who? The Sun Belt? Look, I am Sun Belt, Fun Belt Spencer. That is a mantra that I just came up with, and it's going to stick. I'm going to make it stick even more than the Sid from Toy Story accusation that I get all the time. I don't know where Woody and Buzz are. I don't. Stop asking.
I've never heard that.
Just wait, dude. I'm like 3 days away from getting my haircut. Once I kind of finish moving all of my stuff, I tell you what, it's uncanny once I get the haircut and go full Buzz. But anyway, so the haircut, not the action figure. So the quarterback situation is wild. And look, is Joey Aguilar Josh Hoover? No, I love that Tennessee went and swung for Josh Hoover. However that makes you feel as a fan, I am someone who fancies myself as very pro-fan in the college football space because I think a lot of aspects of this sport and college athletics as a whole, unfortunately, are not. And so it is pro-fan to say, you know what, I get why you're frustrated that guys are moving around. There's not as much loyalty. It's not about playing for, the power T, as Josh Heupel said at the press conference. I get it. I then go to the Moneyball line. Adapt or die. Grady.
Yeah.
Adapt or die. And eventually, Grady got fired, of course, because he was getting left behind. So, I respect that Tennessee went out and tried to get Josh Hoover, because that tells me Josh Heupel realizes what he's got, what the program is, the momentum they have off a college football playoff appearance a year ago. Yeah, they got blown out by Ohio State. Who didn't? Michigan, and then Oregon that one time, but then who cares, really, because they got blown out when it was all on the line. And so I think that for that situation, they were trying to make the most of it, but this is now the best you had. Because the other G5 quarterback that moved recently is Gio Lopez, going from North Carolina going from South Alabama, over to North Carolina and Bill Belichick. And are those two guys comparable? I think Aguilar is probably a little bit of a better player. He's more proven. I think both guys are capable, but I think it makes things interesting. At the very least, it makes things interesting and exciting. That's the upside for fans. The downside is, a lot of people bought Nico jerseys last fall, and I don't know what you put on the back of them now. It might not be kind.
There were a lot of iterations of Iamale something on the back of those jerseys. The
Iamale leaving?
Yeah, there was that. There was some bad words. It was pretty funny, to say the least. But again, I don't want to spend the whole time, because we're not going to do this for much longer. I just want to get a little something out there. But, how serious was Tennessee and Josh Hoover, right? I mean, again, he was not in the transfer portal. So, Tennessee staff did not talk to him. Agents, vetting,
okay,
agents talking.
Hold on.
Tennessee's under the microscope, dude. So,
I know. I get that. And by the way, I'm not reporting anything with that reaction.
No,
everybody.
I know. I'm just saying,
officially.
It's like an agent going out there saying, okay, so interest there, what would it take? Okay, well, now we'll probably say here. And then agent turning around doing his job. Again, I don't know if this is to be case, but I could see this happening. Agent turning around saying, oh, no, we're going to stay here. TCU, let's go, whatever. It's not hook 'em, but whatever they say. He becomes a legend there for that fan base, and he probably gets a raise. So that's the whole thing
Go
about
Frogs.
This. What is it?
Is that what it is? Is it Go Frogs?
I have no clue. I'm not a TCU guy.
I forget. It's Go Frogs. I respect that Hoover stayed there, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I mean, but that's the whole thing. We just don't know. And that's why this era is just so wild and wacky.